In today's episode, we'll explore what is embodiment and what it's not, why is it important, and how does embodiment actually work. By the end of this episode, you'll walk away with a deeper understanding of embodiment, along with a few practical tools to start feeling more present, more alive, and more fully yourself starting today. What if tuning into your senses could change everything? Welcome to This Sensational Life, a space to awaken your senses and embody your power. If you love self-discovery, creative living, and a richer, more meaningful experience of life, this podcast is for you. I'm your host, Tamara Drossart, a professional dancer and mindful movement educator. I have a deep love of exploring the art and science of how we move, and I will be your guide for today's episode. Let's get curious. What is embodiment? Honestly, embodiment is such a buzzword today. Everyone's talking about it, but what does it actually mean to be embodied? Why is it important? And more importantly, what does it feel like? All right, let's examine what is embodiment. Basically, embodiment is the felt sense of being fully present, alive, aware, and engaged in your own experience. It's not just about being in your body, it's about being with yourself, in your breath, in your bones, in your movements and tiny gestures, in your sense of emotions. It's when both your inner world and your outer expression are in conversation and in synchronicity moment by moment. It's the integration of all four channels of our human experience: thoughts, movements, emotions, and sensations. Let's break embodiment down into 3 different layers, each layer offering a unique lens. The first layer is having a physical, tangible form. You need a body in order to be embodied. At its most literal definition, embodiment means a tangible or visible form of an idea, quality, or feeling. So basically, it's when something abstract like grief, playfulness, confidence, or calm takes a physical shape and sense of expression in you. It becomes both felt and expressed. One example, maybe you've seen this before, someone who walks into a room and radiates clarity or joy or calm. Or a dancer who embodies sorrow, not just performing what sorrow is, but living it and expressing it moment by moment. It's not something you do, it's just how you are. The second layer of embodiment is this idea of expressing through a physical form. To embody something means you don't just say it, you express it with your entire self. Your posture, your rhythm, your breath, your gaze, all of these functions of yourself participate fully in this sense of expression. It's the difference between saying you're fine and embodying a deep sense of calm and peace. Between saying I'm confident and moving with a presence that feels unshakably, undeniably confident. The third layer of embodiment, it includes integration or organization. So embodiment is about this sense of wholeness, but it's also the process of organizing and integrating all of these different channels of your experience, these 4 channels of human experience: thoughts, movements, emotions, and sensations. And it's when all 4 of these channels are integrated and organized in a way that feels coherent and fully aware. So you're not fragmented or tuning out to these different channels of your experience, or perhaps only paying attention to your thoughts and ignoring your movements and sensations, you're connected to all of these channels. And it's important to note that it's not static. This is a dynamic and ongoing process, a way of learning, adapting, and attuning to yourself. So, in summary, in essence, embodiment is the felt sense of being alive, connected, and aware of your entire self, of your whole self. And it's the capacity for expression through your whole self, your physical form. And then lastly, it's the ability to continuously integrate new experiences into your evolving sense of self. It's a practice, it's a relationship, and it's a dynamic way of being that involves some kind of conversation, of listening, tuning in, and asking questions and looking for answers. Okay, so what embodiment isn't? Sometimes the best way to understand something is by clearing away any misconceptions. So let's bust a few myths. Embodiment is not just about quote unquote being in your body. You can be physically present and still disconnected from yourself. For example, you might be aware of your breath, but completely numb to your sense of effort or tension. You might be moving through space, but movement is just, you're doing it to yourself. You're not sensing or actually feeling your movement while you're moving. Embodiment means you're paying attention to what you're doing while you're doing it. The second misconception is that embodiment is a constant state of bliss. It's not. Embodiment doesn't mean you're always peaceful or you're always perfectly calm and regulated. What it really means is you're honest with yourself, you're real with what's coming up for you, whether it's confusion, discomfort, rage, or delight. Embodiment includes all of the messy stuff, all of the human stuff. It's just how you relate to this stuff. Do you tune in and allow yourself to fully feel and express all of this stuff? The third misconception is embodiment is not about control or performance or projecting a certain state. It's not about looking poised and graceful or being perceived as spiritual. It's not something you can achieve, rather it's something you actively experience. You don't have to earn or achieve your way into embodiment. In fact, you already can access embodiment right now. You are already here. The invitation is simply to start noticing your sensations. The fourth misconception about embodiment is it's not limited to movement practices. So practices like dance or Tai Chi, yoga, or Feldenkrais are beautiful doorways into how to feel more powerfully embodied. But embodiment also lives in stillness, in breath, in simple actions like the way you stir your tea or how you step into the sun. Embodiment is not one specific activity. It's a way of relating to yourself and your life through listening and conversation and becoming aware, actively present. The fifth misconception is it's not all or nothing. You don't have to be fully embodied 24/7 to benefit from the practice of embodiment. Even one moment of presence, a breath, a sensation, a pause can reconnect you to yourself. And that's what embodiment really is. It's this practice of returning again and again to yourself, to your sensations, to these subtle senses of who you are. And all we need to experience that is to listen and ask questions about our experience and about our sensations. All right, so why is embodiment important? To answer that, we first need to explore what happens when we're not embodied. Well, when we're not embodied, basically we're not fully present. We're not here. Perhaps we're living in our head. We're living from the neck up, which is thinking, reacting, controlling, managing, without truly being with ourselves. And you can imagine what happens when we're not paying attention to ourselves. What happens is we override our own needs. We become numb to our emotions. We miss really important signals until they scream. It's like living halfway. You're living disconnected from yourself, and you're living disconnected from this deeper layer of meaning and connection. So perhaps if you find yourself in these patterns, ask yourself, is living without connection to yourself really living? And do you want to spend your life half awake? Disembodiment isn't just unfulfilling, it's also unsafe. Accidents happen when we're tuned out. We hurt ourselves. Stress becomes chronic. We burn out. Your body suffers. You suffer. Your entire self suffers when you stop listening. Here are 7 things that often happen when we're not embodied. Number 1, you're stuck in your head, overthinking, spinning thoughts, forgetting to breathe, holding your breath. It's like you're living in a tower, observing life, but not actually inhabiting it. The second thing that happens is you override your own needs. You push through exhaustion. You say yes when you mean no. You miss the cues of hunger, and you also miss out on true joy and happiness. The third thing that happens is your emotions either take control of you or sometimes get stuck or disappear. So when we're disconnected or disembodied, emotions either get buried and show up later as pain or shutdown, or they erupt without warning. Embodiment helps you feel emotions, process them, and then move through. The third thing that happens is emotions either get stuck or take over, take control of you, or they start disappearing. When we're disconnected, emotions either get buried, they show up later as pain or shutdown, or they erupt without warning. We can just kind of go off on someone for no reason. And embodiment helps you feel these emotions, process them, and then move through them. The fourth thing that happens is life either feels flat or overwhelming. You're either numb or you're overstimulated. And it's hard to find any sense of rhythm or regulation or rest. The fifth thing that happens when you're not embodied is you perform for people instead of connecting. You put on a face. You look like you've got it all together, but inside you feel disconnected, restless, or robotic. 6 is you feel not like yourself. There's a gap between who you think you are, who you want yourself to be, and who you actually are. It's as if something feels off, but it's kind of hard to explain it. And the 7th thing that happens when you're not embodied is your health suffers. When you're tuned out, you miss really important signals about how you're doing. You kind of move without awareness, you get hurt, you get sick, or you inadvertently run your nervous system into overdrive and experience burnout. So basically, embodiment is how we protect, preserve, and care for ourselves. It's how we listen before we break down, and it's how we heal before burning out. So let's flip the script. Now that we've seen the hidden cost of disembodiment, let's talk about what becomes possible when you return to yourself and when you begin to practice embodiment. So, what does embodiment make possible for you? First of all, it gives you access to choice. You can notice your reactions, you can become aware of your patterns, and then you can consciously shift them. So you move from the state of being an autopilot to actually responding with deliberation and intention. Without awareness, there is no freedom. This is one of my favorite quotes from Moshe Feldenkrais. Number 2, embodiment is where healing happens. So you can't think your way out of trauma, but you can move and feel your way through it. You gain the ability through embodiment to reorganize your patterns, to soften, repattern yourself, and evolve and grow. Third is embodiment helps cultivate your creativity, your innate ability to be creative. It connects you to this place where intuition and insight and creative flow live. And it's the most powerful state to be connected to, which leads me to number 4, which is embodiment is how you feel power, pleasure, and presence. You don't think your way into confidence, you feel it. Embodiment allows you to live this felt sense of confidence and not just talk about it or think about it. Number 5, embodiment reconnects you with what's really important, with your inner compass. In a noisy world, embodiment helps you hear your own signals, your yes, your no, your inner truth. That leads us to our next question, which is, how do you actually feel more embodied? Well, it starts with sensing yourself more, which starts with slowing down and listening. Let's try this right now, listening to your breath. The first question we can ask is it there or is it not there? Is your breathing free or does it feel constrained in some way? Just noticing. The second question we can ask is our breath coming or is it going? And notice the points at which it changes from coming to going. And the third question we can ask is, where do we feel it? Where is it? Is our breath happening in our nostrils, in our throat, in our esophagus? Is our breath happening in our chest? How about in your belly or your lower abdomen? Is your breath happening in your ribs along the back of you? Along the sides of you, under your armpits? In your shoulder blades? Or the tips of your shoulders? And then sense all of these places at once. The downward direction of your breath, the direction of your breath behind you and in front of you, the direction of your breath on both sides of you. And the direction of your breath upwards towards your neck and your shoulders. You can see from this meditation that there's all of these subtle senses that deepen with the practice of embodiment. There are so many senses and sensations about our lived experience that remain hidden from us because we just don't know to look for them, or we've never thought to pay attention to them before. For example, there's more than these 5 senses of touch, taste, sight, sound, and smell. We can also explore other sensations available to us, like our sense of proprioception, where you are in space, where your skeleton is. Our sense of interoception, this awareness of your internal organs, your gut, your lungs, and your heart. Your sense of effort. How much effort are you expending in the act of sitting or standing or walking? Our sense of chronoception, or your internal sense of time. How long does it take to walk across the room? And then there's your kinesthetic sense, or how you organize and coordinate movement within yourself. So you can see that there's all these amazing sensations available to us. And the more you sense, the more you know about yourself. All right. So in conclusion, embodiment has 3 layers: having a physical form, expression of that form, and then organization and inclusion of more and more things in the awareness of your experience of this physical form. Embodiment is quite simple, really. It's not an achieved state, but it's a process of being in touch with yourself through your senses. And it's a process of asking questions and listening for answers. It's about sensing all of these different parts and functions and layers of your experience of who you are. And a simple process for becoming more aware or more embodied is asking these 3 questions that we explored in our mini meditation today. We asked, first of all, is it there or is it not there? Second of all, is it coming or going? Is it getting stronger or weaker? And third is, where exactly is it? Or can you describe the exact flavor of the sensation in very objective terms? All right, that's it for today's episode. I'd like to end with some questions for reflection. The first question is, when was the last time you felt truly in touch with yourself? Second, what helps you come back to yourself when you're feeling scattered or when you're feeling disconnected? Third, how can you make it easier to notice your sensations? Fourth, what part of your experience do you most often avoid or ignore? Fifth, how might your life change if you practiced returning to yourself, becoming more aware, slowing down, and tuning in? Well, I hope you learned something new by listening to today's episode. And if you've ever said to yourself, I need to get back into my body, you're going to love the next episode because we'll be exploring why the word body might actually be holding you back. Thank you for tuning in and listening to This Sensational Life. If this episode sparked something in you, please leave a review or share it with a friend. Come say hi and follow us on Instagram at This Sensational Life. And if you're ready to go deeper, visit thissensationallife.com for courses, community, and creative experiences to support you in your journey of becoming more sensationally alive, more powerfully embodied. Until next time, stay curious and keep on living this sensational life.